And joining me now is Congressman Jim Clyburn of South Carolina, whose endorsement of Joe Biden was critical in helping him secure the Democratic nomination. Congressman Clyburn, it's always a pleasure to have you. Welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you very much for having me back.
I want to start with something that's in today's New York Times, written by somebody I think you know pretty well. It's Bishop Reginald Jackson. And he wrote an op-ed pretty frustrated on the voting rights issue. And let me read you this excerpt. He says, last week in their speeches, Mr. Biden and Ms. Harris strongly and passionately denounced the law, meaning the Georgia voting law changes that have took place. But as they spoke, I kept asking myself, where had that strength and passion been during the past 10 months? And Congressman, I'll just put up this little graphic that we put together here of presidential events, in-person events with the president. He did 60-some events on COVID, not surprising, over the last year, 39 on either Build Back Better or infrastructure. And we only have 2 where he focused on voting rights, and the second event was that speech in Atlanta. Do you agree with Bishop Jackson that he didn't do enough in the last year?
Well, I share the frustrations that Bishop Jackson has. I know Bishop Jackson very well. I'm an AME myself. The fact of the matter is, he did not have to deal with the Senate on COVID-19 or the infrastructure bill. He had to deal with the Senate on the so-called filibuster for voting rights, and that's not new. That's been around. In my senior year in high school, 1957, is when my state senator, United States Senator Strom Thurmond, set the filibuster record against voting rights, and it's been there during the 60s. So that is an issue that the president tried to work around. So we needed to get COVID-19 under control, and I think the president has done a good job at that. Hopefully we will never run out of the Greek alphabets. We haven't yet. Right. Omicron has given us a problem that nobody expected. We remember the Delta and what it had visited upon us. So you got to work. People have got to be in good health, or these other things don't matter. I learned that at an early age. So people need to go to work. People need to go to school. People need to do a lot of things. But you got to get their health squared away first. So I think the priorities were in the right place.
So let's talk about now voting rights going forward. You spoke the other day. You expressed some openness that, look, the Electoral Vote Act is not something you want to do first. You would prefer to do the voting rights bills first. But you seem open to doing something there. And since there is a bipartisan interest in doing something there, do you think you could build a bill out, perhaps with Mitt Romney, who will be on the show later, put a bill together that might, fix what we saw on January 6th, protect election workers? And I think you even mentioned perhaps even getting the Voting Rights Act pre-clearance issues in that bill. Is that something you think is worth pursuing?
Absolutely, but I also think it's worth us having this vote. We need to find out, back in the 60s, we used to sing a song. John Lewis loved that song. Which side are you on? We always know that there are people who are freedom fighters, and there are also people who are rather have favor. And so we know that. I mean, people tell me they are for this legislation, but they're against the processes that we need in order to get the legislation, then I don't think you're on the right side of history. So we got to fight. We got to have these votes. We got to see which side people are on. And if that were to fail, as people project it will, then what's the next best thing? Remember now, the Electoral College will not kick in until 2024. Right. I want to know what's going to happen in 2022. When someone is standing in a line and need a drink of water, when you got these 6 and 7 hour waits in line in Black communities and 20 minutes in white communities, when you've got a committee there set to overturn your vote if they don't like the outcome. So that's the thing that we need to do now, and that has to be done before we have any other elections in this country. And so 2024. We got a lot of time for that.
I understand that. So you want this vote to go ahead next week. I'm just curious.
Absolutely.
Do you think do you worry at all that it's just going to shine a spotlight on Democratic disunity, where suddenly it's a pile-on cinema and mansion, right? It is Democrats versus Democrats here. And as you know, that can get demoralizing in an election year.
Yes, that is always a threat. But the fact of the matter is, I've said it, and I'm going to say it again. We need to know who is with us and who is not, so we'll know how to conduct ourselves going forward. We operate now in the blind. Let's have these votes. Let people have this debate, and let's see where we stand, so we'll know how to conduct ourselves.
Did you have a problem with President Biden's remarks? We know that Dick Durbin thought they went too far. Mitt Romney took issue with feeling as if he was being lumped in with the Bull Connors and the George Wallaces of the world. He thought that wasn't fair. What did you make of the president's remarks?
I endorse them wholeheartedly. Look, when we came out of Reconstruction in 1876, we started losing the right to vote. We started losing other freedoms, and we called it Jim Crow. We had a very successful election in 2020. People voted at higher levels than they ever had before. And in reaction to that, Georgia, Texas, and 17 other states started passing draconian voting rights laws. That, to me, is Jim Crow 2.0. And so I like the way the president said it, because that's exactly what it is.
You are somebody who is a pragmatic when it comes to the political landscape. What's your advice to the president here? And what do you need from the president to improve Democrats' chances in 2022?
I think he's on message. Stay on message. Don't let people get him off message. You know, my father was a fundamentalist minister. He used to say to me all the time, son, the darkest hour of the night is that moment just before dawn. So yes, things may look dark. Keep pressing. When we came out of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, people told us we couldn't get voting. And we got voting the following year in 65. It may look bleak now, but we are going to keep pressing. We are not going to give in on this, because I'm convinced that the people of goodwill are going to step up and help us get this done.
Congressman Jim Clyburn, Democrat from South Carolina. Always appreciate getting your perspective on the show. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.